Blessings, my sisters and brothers, and welcome to the Law of One. I am Robert, your humble narrator. Today's question: in the complicated and shadowy workings of our military-industrial governmental complex, there's been a growing movement towards some form of disclosure. That is, an event whereby the governments of the world, particularly the U.S., openly and formally acknowledge the existence of non-human visitation, recovered technologies, etc. Though it's sure to be one big muddled mess on every level, this potential event in human history would be paradigm-changing, potentially stimulating great quantities of spiritual seeking and polarization in consciousness. And that includes you, in some way, the Confederation, that is. Can you share your perspective on this unfolding? How does the Law of One apply to this, and how many positively oriented seekers use the potential opportunity to be of service? We are Tovo, and have received this query, my brother. This can be a difficult and complicated topic to explore, for there are, as you are aware, barriers or boundaries in place manifested out of a desire to protect your free will as a population upon your planet which is attempting to find its own way within the creation. There are limits to that which we may speak, and various aspects of this dynamic that you have called disclosure that we cannot shed light on, for it is for you as a peoples to discover. But we are happy to share a certain perspective that might help orient this group and your peoples towards receiving such catalysts and integrating it within the individual and collective in a useful and positive fashion. We would begin this exploration with a reiteration of our limitations. As the Confederation of Planets in service to the one infinite Creator, that we are unable, in many cases, to interact in a very direct way with your population. There have been limited contacts, you may say, such as this type of contact you are experiencing now through the vocal channeling. There have been some other types of contact that may seem to those experiencers as more direct, and there have even been contacts of a sort with your governments and, as you have termed, military-industrial complexes. Those institutions that operate on a shadowy level within your society, but have much control, have much power, and exert a particular influence that is not readily apparent to you as individuals. However, we are not the only source of these contacts, for those of the Orion Group, as you know them, also have a desire to have contact with your planet, with you as individuals, and have a desire to exert a particular type of influence upon your population, and can find great inroads through the structures of power, as you perceive them, such as your militaries, your governments, and your various other institutions that operate and uphold your society in various ways. And so you can see from this description that the influences and attempts to share the perspective of the one infinite Creator with your planet and with your governments is varied. And this variation can create confusion and a lack of consistency. When we look upon the various workings of these groups and look towards what is known to you as disclosure, or open acknowledgement among these institutions that there is more present within the universe and even upon your planet that you are aware of, this confusion must be remembered. For not every aspect of what you as individuals or your institutions receive from us or from the Orion Group may seem consistent or make sense, you may say. The confusion in this area which is most hidden at the moment within these groups attempting to grapple with how to share with your peoples this reality as they experience it has sparked, you might say, various mythologies and narratives. There are many stories about who this other presence might be, how many of these presences there are, what their desires are, what their goals are, etc. And as this confusion spawns these narratives, some of these narratives express themselves to the groups interested in disclosure and interested in having more open contact. We would offer our assessment of your current situation that open contact is not necessarily possible in the near future because of this confusion. There is some thwarting of a cohesive understanding of what such open contact could entail, and we of the Confederation are limited by this confusion and cannot make ourselves known in an apparent way until there is a more cohesive understanding and openness to these influences. The Orion Group thus has also a desire to exacerbate and energize this confusion and plant within these narratives seeds of fear, of distrust, of secrecy, of doom, and of any manner of difficult and imbalancing perspective that causes these seekers interested in such open contact to orient themselves in a way that is not compatible with how we, the Confederation, might choose to make ourselves known to you as a population. Thus, we would suggest, when attempting to grapple with this very difficult and complicated situation, and as the narrative of open contact with so-called extraterrestrial sources becomes greater and greater within your collective discussion, that you and groups such as this maintain a steady tuning and orientation towards the message that you sense within your hearts and that resonates with us, the Confederation, that of the one infinite Creator's love and light, the healing that is possible, the joy and the unity and the energy that can be manifest to bring together you as a peoples. There is much needed perspective and will be needed more and more as this confusing narrative and these competing influences that will become manifest through such open discussion become more prominent. We encourage you to maintain this focus and practice this focus, not just through what you share and engage in with this practice of channeling, but to maintain it through regular practices of meditation and ritual to think constantly about and orient your thoughts towards a source of unity and message of unity that might come from such open awareness of extraterrestrial sources and intelligences. We encourage you to speak to the illusion of fear and distrust, to speak to the aspect of control and bellicosity present within those seeds planted by the Orion Group, and to bring them into your heart, not to battle them, but to accept them, to understand that they are a part of the Creator as well, that they are a natural part of your human experience, that is, to be loved and to be integrated. If the energies of fear, distrust, and bellicosity are given too much energy and power within the self, they can bring one further away from unity. And this is the goal of the Orion Group, to exacerbate the separation that, at this point within your planet's evolution, creates more chaos and confusion. This trajectory towards what is known as disclosure will exacerbate this and create more opportunities for both us of the Confederation and the Orion Group. And though we are grateful for your efforts, we encourage all who encounter our words to reiterate and reinforce their spiritual practices that allow them to live within the love and the light of the one infinite Creator through this chaos, so that these messages that we share with you become more and more prominent within the collective narrative as it gains popularity among your population.